What's up YouTube? It's Patel from the Disciples here, and recently I went to a regional near Bristol and finished 6-1 playing Salamangreat. So I'm just going to talk about the tournament, the salad deck, the cards I played and why I played it, and why I think salad's good, and how this deck works going first and second. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So at the tournament, I came second place and went 6-1. Even though it was a regional, I played a lot of really good players and really good decks. I ended up playing 2 Despia decks, 2 Punk decks, 1 ABC Adventurer, 1 Flunder deck, and my only loss was a combo Adventurer Punk deck. So yeah, the tournament was run really well. The judges were really good. Tournament finished really quickly, and I was able to make the football that day, so I'm really happy for that. And the reason why I wanted to play Salamangreat was it was my first tournament back in 2 years, like really big tournament. So I didn't know much of the meta, but I could see that Despia and Sorcerer were really popular, but a lot of people were playing cards like D-Barrier and like really heavy floodgates that stopped those kind of decks playing. And when I tried to test those decks, it was a struggle to play games consistently. And I got inspired by Salamangreat by watching Joshua Smith's streams, and he kind of just went over a list, which the deck list took inspiration from. And I saw the deck playing, and I thought it worked really well. When deciding what deck I wanted to play, I kind of wanted to play a 40-card deck to take advantage of the really high-impact side deck cards there are right now in this format, like certain cards like D-Barrier, Anti-Spell, Nibiru. So yeah, they're in the side deck. And this deck works really well because majority of the deck, it has a big draw engine with cards like Heat Soul. It plays Desires. It can play Buffalo. It's a deck that also doesn't lose to D-Barrier, so I was able to play all 3 of my games majority of the time. And the salad cards can be really fair, but that makes them trade really well into cards like Ash, Veiler, Imperm, which a lot of people are playing right now. So whenever I really get Ash, Veiler, the Imperm, I do feel like I've gone +1 in that interaction. And the deck also has like really good win cons. With going first, you can end up with plays like Baguska, and a lot of decks can't play. And going second, it has a really easy way to make the access code combo, which can do 8k access code to attacking twice. Yeah, you can do that through effect failure. So a lot of hands, a lot of ranges of hands that beat my opponent's ranges of hands going first and going second. And yeah, the deck felt really good. I wanted to give a shout out to Betty for lending me all the cards for the deck. Yeah, thanks a lot, and Sasha the cameraman. So yeah, I'm just gonna go through the list now. We decided to play 12 hand traps, 3 Ash, which is clearly the best hand trap in the format right now. It's the only card that can negate a branded fusion, and resolving Ash on a branded fusion is strong because that would allow him to get +2. And the other cards were Imperm, Effect Veiler, Imperm, and Crow. So Imperm is probably the second best hand trap, but Veiler is really good in this deck because of Heat Soul, because you do draw on your opponent's turn. So you want cards like Veiler and Crow that you can activate that are drawn off Heat Soul. Crow is like really important when playing against Despia, because you need to kind of stop the brand in the red. Some hands can deal with the Mirror Jade Banish, but this deck, there's no real way to deal with the Mirror Jade Banish, Chimera Pop, and another second Mirror Jade effect that there's someone with Adlib. So when you're going second versus Despia, you kind of really need to see this for the brand in the red. So those were the hand traps. We decided to play 12. The next, I'm just going to show like the really good, in my opinion, these are like the really good cards and the starters we want to see. So it's the 3 Circle, 3 Signet, 2 Desires, 1 Call by the Grave. It's similar to Crow. Yeah, Crow by the Grave, similar to Crow. Buffalo is just amazing. Anytime I resolved it. A lot of times, if I Gazelle, I want to do Gazelle turn 1 if I can do Baguska. So with Silent Mining, I search Gazelle if I can do Baguska. But if I can't do Baguska, a lot of times I was searching Buffalo just so my Heat, just to draw more of Heat Soul, and yeah, I was able to see a lot of cards. Oh yeah, but these are like the really good cards. And the next part is like the salad cards. So it was 3 Jack Jaguar, 3 Spinny, 2 Foxy, 1 Falco, 1 Foul. So you play 3 Jaguar and 3 Spinny because these are the ones that recycle themselves. And this deck does really well in turn 3. So where this deck performs, it doesn't really kill your opponent on the first turn. It doesn't really put up a massive board. It kind of just... The point of this deck is that it survives to turn 3 and you just plus from there. Unlike other decks. And you kind of need to play the Foul because it helps you make Baguska, and Falco's obviously same. Falco's card you usually special summon off Stalio a lot. We then have the Salamangreat spelling trap cards. Sanctuary, which you need to play from searching off Baylinks. Will's really good because, like I said, the whole point is the deck plays to slow down your opponent with hand traps. So you try to hand trap your opponent and slow the game down, and then you plus off the cards that recur themselves and recycle themselves and float. So Will helps in that way, and this card helps you extend. So if you have stuff like hands with 2 Jaguar or like heavy salad cards, you're able to push into boards with 1-2 interrupts, and to really make sure you get the access code OTK resolves, and you're able to kill them in that second turn. Rage and Roar. So when I first played this deck, I wasn't sure how good this card was, but this card probably might have been better than Roar just because of the amount of hands where you end up with a Heat Soul, but or like something like a Heat Soul Baguska. So you can't, you're in some end boards which you're not actually able to resolve the Roar. Yeah, you can resolve Rage without Salamangreat on board, so it was like another interrupt. And especially when you got Baguska on board, a lot of decks only line to out your board is access code talker, like Fiber into access code talker. So Rage kind of stops it from out on your Baguska. Well, that was the main deck. And the extra deck was 2 Baylinks, 3 Wolf. 2 Baylinks was fine. A lot of times the second Baylinks was getting shuffled back in for Jaguar. If I had to do 2 Baylinks in one turn, most likely because I had a second Jaguar and Griffin, I was getting shuffled back, and 3 Wolf. Linkaribo, Splash Mage, and Decode Heat Soul. This is mainly for the different attributes to summon Heat Soul. Splash Mage also works is like such a really good card, and literally helps you plus to try and kill your opponent's board. Heat Soul is really good. I think this card has made the deck better because it does make you. It makes you go +2, and those cards actually do matter. If this card survives the next turn, the extra door does help. And by that time, if you haven't had Gazelle access at that point, or your hand was like very slow, let's say it was maybe like 1 Jaguar pass, you probably would have seen enough cards by turn 3 to then make a really strong push. And then this is the access code talker OTK package. So this is the update jammer, transcode. I borrowed the cards. I had to give back the transcode, and it was 2 access codes. And yeah, essentially the OTK is having something like Baylinks access code, summon back the transcode, get back access update jammer, and then you've got a 5/3 access code talker with like 3 pops minimum, and he can attack twice. And that ended up winning me most of my games. And it was like really easy to do this board because since all the salad cards come back, like you're playing 3 Jaguar, 3 Spinny. This to get to this state is really easy. And yeah, I was really getting carried going second. And as well as there are times when you can do there are times when you're able to do this, like a transcode access code play where you can OTK through Veiler. You can OTK through Veiler, which is like pretty good because that's a lot of decks disruptions. If their main engine gets disrupted, they're relying on their hand traps, preventing the opponent from playing next turn. And since this card gives you the ability to play around Effect Veiler and Imperm, a lot of my attacks weren't really getting stopped. And then the XYZ's Baguska and Mirage Stalio, this card carried me through majority of my wins. Literally, I summoned this against Flunder, won the game because you can back it up with Rage or Raw. I summoned this first Punk. He had droplets. I went Raw. He had a second droplets, but at that point, since had enough disruptions. He couldn't really do much. Like it, if they can out it, they probably had to use majority of their resources. And I have survived to turn 3, and at that point, once I've survived to turn 3, at least you can recycle or my engine to them plus. But yeah, this is the win con of the deck in the current format with Despia, Sword Soul, and Flounder flying about. And the side deck is probably one of the biggest reasons to play this deck. The game one, your deck might be like unfavorable, just because like how fair the engine is compared to other stuff. But post side game 2 and 3, the best cards they can probably side in is Nibiru, whereas you're siding in cards, well, some other cards which kind of stop them out for like majority of the game. So it was 3D barrier, which is obviously just insane this format against combo decks. Stuff like Despia, Sword Soul, and in a 40 card deck, you're really likely to see stuff like D barrier, Free Nibiru. It's another hand trap, works really well with Heat Soul. You really need it for the Sword Soul matchup, and you need it for it just covers a big range of matchups. Free Twin Twister, because you needed something for the back. You need to play something for the back row decks. I actually sided it in versus Despia too, just because of the fact that it's really difficult to if they Mirror J pop and they're able to resolve Branded Red while you're mid game, like mid turn. It's strong because they pop 2 of your side best cards and you can't really kill them that turn. You don't want to go to turn 3 with Despia, so the idea is you twin them. Hopefully you twin their Zombie World, or you twin their There Can Only Be One and maybe hit a Brand in the red, There Can Only Be One, Zombie World, and they only have Mirror J to get rid of one of your Salas, and hopefully you can climb into Access Code, Double Attack. And these are the other side deck cards, which I think are insane. So I decided to go 2 of these, because I wasn't sure what matchups I would have on the day. So if I went 3, like for example, 3 Token Collector, 3 Anti-Spell, I'm kind of gambling on what matchups I would have on the day. And I'm pretty happy I went with this. I actually ended up playing no Sword Soul during the day, so this wasn't that good. But if I had played Sword Soul, this would have been really impactful. Anti-Spell just good against Despia and Flounder. Rivalry just good against a lot of the decks. And I think Rivalry is really good going first and going second. It can play against the Punk deck, and especially if they're trying to do Calamities. So that was the deck. So like quickly, for anyone who doesn't know what the Salah deck does, I just wanted to go through like some hands and like what the go-to play would be. Like sorry, wait, we're not shuffling the deck. I thought, in case anyone thought I was doing a bit of craziness, I just wanted to show some really good hands. So this is just a random hand. So this hand, you probably would end up activating Desires at the end of your combo to get rid of as many salad stuff engine cards as possible, so you're able to draw the non-engine cards like Crows, the hand traps. So we probably don't need Foxy Effect here. And this hand, actually, I think we probably don't need to use Foxy's Effect, especially from Graveyard here, so we probably use this effect to look at the top 3. And this hand probably can go into Baguska if it doesn't get interrupted. So we'll do lines such as Foxy, look at the top 3. Oh, we got Rage. Summon, Circle into Gazelle. Link this away. Baylinks. Into Sanctuary, then you'd use Gazelle effect. I would probably go for the Jaguar here. And then this is where we would probably go, we'll bring back Foxy, make Stalio effect. Right, Falco, link these 2 away. Into, you probably go for the second. Since you've got the Circle in grave, you probably would activate Sanctuary and go for the second. Get a Circle back to your hand. Then I'll put the Wolf back. So we put the Wolf back into the extra deck. Summon Jaguar. get a Baguska, go for the Zayas. Yeah, banish 10 doesn't really matter here. Drawing 2, and you've ended up with like Baguska, Rage Roar, a search for Rage 2 if you didn't. Yeah, sorry, it didn't really come up here, but yeah, this was your board. So if the whole point is you've slowed down your opponent to the next turn, and by that point you've gone and killed him. But so that was just one example of hand. I just wanted to show how to play it out. And yeah, like my closing thoughts for this deck would be, I think it's a really good deck if you're coming back into the game, as the lines of play are pretty simple. Going first and going second. Yeah, and you're able to play all 3 games of Yu-Gi-Oh, which is nice. There's no one's really trying to hate on Salamangreat. So if you want to play Yu-Gi-Oh and you haven't played since COVID times, yeah, I really recommend it. I just want to shout out the sponsors, the Brotherhood Games, Card Market, MetaMats, and yeah, that's pretty much it. See ya.